Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you for joining us here today on Vibes, Community, and Conversation, where we are
building connections, one vibe at a time.
one vibe at a time. I'm your host, Mike, a.k.a. The Cool Guy, and I'm here with my co-host,
The Jazzy One.
And so on this episode, we had the opportunity to have a conversation with a couple people, Sharika and Aaron Hall, great young couple. They've gone through some things in life. And so they were able to talk about their story. And I think it was very inspirational. I feel like, the information that was shared would be beneficial to anyone who's watching this podcast.
Absolutely. I know for me, hearing from Sharika as a stay-at-home mom of 4, and how she's been able to still be an entrepreneur and, run her own business was very inspiring. And I feel like it will be for other mothers who may be looking to do some other things as well.
Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. So, hey, we're going to jump right on in. This is episode 1 of Vibes, Community, and Conversation. Let's go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're here with the Halls today, Mrs. Sharika Hall and Mr. Aaron Hall, who is no relation to Aaron Hall from Guy. So, I appreciate you all being here today, and just want to talk a little bit about your lives, what you have going on. So if you all can just tell me a little bit about yourselves.
Okay. All right. Like you had said, I am Sharika Hall. I am a mother of 4 beautiful kids, twin boys and 2 girls, ages 10, 4, and the twins are soon to be 2 this month. And me and Mr. Hall have been married for 4 years, together for 10. So a little bit about me. I am a stay-at-home mom, something that I always wanted, but I don't think I was fully prepared. But I am very blessed and grateful. But at the same time, I am a mom that's, not fully just committed into just being a mom. I had to find my way. So I started, doing different entrepreneur opportunities and, finding the balance between myself and motherhood and finding the woman that I am.
Okay.
So that's me.
Sounds good.
I'm Aaron Hall. As she said, we've been together 10 years, 4 in the making of marriage plus. We got beautiful kids, entrepreneur, many talents.
Many talents.
Okay. Many talents.
All right. So earlier we were having a conversation about upbringing and the neighborhoods that you all grew up in. Tell me a little bit about your neighborhoods and the effect it had on you in your growth.
My neighborhood was Child's Park. Most people call it Gulfport right now. It's still Child's Park, but they kind of separated it.
Right.
And the kids that don't, my parents ain't really let me out the house as much, but when I did come out the house, I was around all the neighborhood kids. And the way that they acted, things they was doing, I looked at them like, all right, I don't think I want to do that. Hard-headed, want to be a thug all day long,
right?
Don't have no structure on them.
Right.
So I knew when I got older, I wanted more of a structure. And whatever I had in the future, everything had to have structure.
Definitely. Okay.
Myself, I grew up in Minister Heights neighborhood between 5th Avenue and Central Avenue South. To us, too, it's pretty much Gulfport. It's just that, them green signs separated from the blue signs. But for me, my neighborhood showed me community, being able to play with all the neighborhood kids, knowing your neighbors, supporting each other, being able to play outside. Now we don't really see kids playing outside. And that was the beauty. Long as I was home before, the lights beat me, I was good. And, the kids, they wanted to be rough, but we just wasn't in the neighborhood. They migrated that culture into our neighborhood, but for the most part, it was something I would be proud of.
So, okay. All right. Good deal. All right. So, did you all meet in high school? Because you both went to Boca Ciega High School, right? The Boca Ciega High School.
Okay.
Pirates. Let's go Pirates.
Even though I don't care. Okay. But,
Oh,
08,
damn.
baby, 08.
So you all didn't meet there at school, but did you know each other? All right. Maybe I don't want to let you.
So I knew her.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say I was the populist kid in school, but I was known for being different.
Okay.
And she was on a cheerleading team. I was never the type to really date cheerleaders, you know. But, you know, I knew a lot of people who was intertwined with her. She just ain't noticed me.
Okay.
You know, even when we met years later, I always remember she had a bow on her head. You know what I'm saying? Like she wore this little ribbon, you know what I'm saying? And that always stuck with me. So when I seen her again, I'm like, yeah, I think I want you back then.
Mm-hmm.
You grown now.
That's
you
it.
know. And we met on a different type of way.
Okay.
We met on the dating site.
You know.
Okay.
And it was new for her because I ain't gonna lie to you, like the dating sites that you hear about now ain't the same.
Okay.
You know, I think you people find love online.
Right.
Because it don't matter if you're on Facebook, Instagram, it's all about the same. But you just
we had the luck of the draw.
You had the luck of the draw.
Okay.
And I say that because my friend girl is the one who told me, because it was just like, you know, you go out, you know, because when we met, I was 24. So it's like, you know, you don't want the man in the club, you know what you're going to get. And then, you know, you pump your gas, guys don't greet you no more. If you is trying to greet me, you going to pump my gas, you just trying to holler, hey, you know, I don't want that. Right. So she was like, well, you know, go on such and such. And I was like, no, the day I go on a dating site, you know, excuse my French, hell gonna freeze over. No. And just to show, some time passed, about a month or so passed, and one night you just curious, and I created that page, and I was like, I'm not gonna post a picture. I ain't gonna let people see me. When I got on there, you seen so many people from your area. Oh my! Right. So I finally did. A few days later, I posted a picture after so many weird people wrote me. He was the first person. As soon as I posted that picture, it was in my inbox, and his greeting was what stood out.
That Rico Suave.
You know, it was very Rico Suave, you know. Hi, beautiful, you know, such and such.
Beautiful, yeah. Beautiful. I should have seen you again in person.
Yes, and it would have been great. But that's how that connection was. And like, I knew his face. I just didn't know where I knew him from. And so it went from there. We chatted for a while, then we exchanged numbers, and
history in the making.
Yeah, that's it.
It was a no-brainer when she came around.
Yeah. I love that. I love it. I mean, and I see the connection when I first met y'all. I was like, boy, that's a young couple, boy, in love.
Yeah.
That's a good thing, because you know you have couples who are together, they just exist.
Yes.
But y'all, you know what I'm saying? Y'all that match made. You know what I'm saying?
Friend.
That's
yeah.
it. That's
ups and downs, you know. Ups and downs. Roll around.
That's cool. That's cool. So I heard you mention earlier about being an entrepreneur. Tell me about what it is that you do. What type of business do you have, Aaron? And then Sharika, you could.
Well, currently, because I'm a landscaper.
Okay.
You know, I take the entrepreneur word. I had to learn the difference between a businessman and an entrepreneur.
Okay.
A business person, rather. You know, business person normally only have like one business, baby. Well, I flourished through a bunch of different lanes just to see if it can be done.
That's it.
Because you hear so much in our community like, no, don't do that. Oh, boy, you need to get a regular check.
Right.
You know, a job security. And the way I was growing up, you know, my mom always said, get a job, pay your bill, save money if you can.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, all right. I thought that was the right structure.
Right.
And then something happened with the last job I was doing. And then I'm at 25. She was like, you know what? The world finna change. Life finna change.
Right.
So you need to determine your own reality.
Okay.
And first it was a mobile detailer.
Mm-hmm.
Did that for years and years and years. Met great people. Still ain't know nothing.
Right.
You think you know something, but you don't know nothing. You just winging it.
That's it.
And then, you know, like I said, years passed, started catering food. Did that. Matter of fact, before the catering was pressure washer.
Okay.
Did that for a minute. Catering food for a minute. Landscaping right now, currently.
Okay.
So, you know, I'm the type that if a person tell you that you can't do something, I'm going to prove you wrong.
Challenge.
You know, don't tell me no.
Right.
Keep saying yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll empower the next person, hopefully.
That's right. That's that encouragement. Okay. All right, Miss Sharika.
Well, for me, my background has always been medical. So before becoming a mom, I was a surgical tech, home health aide background. So in doing those jobs, it required, you know, overnights, long hours. So I ended up coming to Aaron with Miss Brooklyn, and I had to let him know, like, you know, I got to find this balance of, you know, what am I gonna do? So he ended up, you know, allowed me to go back to school. So I went back to school for esthetician. So I had started my own skincare place. You know, it was going great. And then we hit 2020, COVID hits. And in the pandemic, that's close contact. You got to touch people. So that one didn't go where I planned on for it to go. So again, I'm back and I'm letting him know I want to find my way. But in finding my way, I realized my biggest gift was supporting him. So it was a team. I didn't really have to go out and find my own business per se. We was already established. So let me just come over here and help you. So I might have, you know, detailing with him. And, you know, when it came down to catering, you know, you do the barbecue, I do the sides. We gonna make this work.
Yeah.
And then, going off the landscaping, I know he mentioned pressure washing, but it's the landscaping for me that even when we were doing the detailing, because his dad used to have his own landscaping business and it was always in him, he'll have your front yard looking like a fresh haircut, you know? So he tried to do that doing landscaping at the time, but when you two young people, you know, raising baby and you
don't forget the broke,
you know, and I say broke, you know, you figuring it out because you got this business, but you're not understanding. Yes, you're running a business, but you don't understand what a business means. You got to pay yourself. You got to pay the business. You got to put money away. We getting money. We spending money. And, you know, it's going to come back.
Ain't no saving.
So you're trying to run two business, but not landscaping. Your lawnmower broke. Oh, well, you know what? You know, that one meant for us, you know, we can't put money. So when it came back around, I always told him, I was like, detailing was the one that showed us that we were capable of doing it, but landscaping was what you always wanted to do. So when he got out there doing that, now I'm back home again with a lot of free time with these twin boys. What am I going to do? And that goes into me finding my place with God, that he revealed to me that I always been one to talk. I always been one to open my mouth and make people feel good. So it's like, what was it? He put poetry back in my lap, and I then became a mom that now, you know, gets on TikTok, inspire people, as well as running my own catering business. And I just recently wrote my first ebook. So that is now my new lane now. Like, my new skill is my mouth, my hands, and my writing. So that's me in this journey.
That's all right.
That makes
Definitely.
So Miss Jazz, you have entrepreneurial skills? What you got any little businesses going on?
I sold Mary Kay.
Yeah.
For a little while.
But you know what? That's a business too.
Yes, it is.
Because it's hard selling Mary Kay.
Yes.
Really trying to talk to people, walk up to them, and ask them about their skincare.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
But it's definitely something to be an entrepreneur that you have to invest your time into, and that's something that I felt I did not have, because when I first started, I was in college, and it's like, I need to graduate.
Yes.
Because you don't think about it, or I didn't think about it as something that would be a career. It was like, this is something to get a little bit of.
That's right. That's right.
Yes.
So
yes.
entrepreneurship as like a career wasn't something that I thought about. And then I let it go, and then I got back to it. But then I had my oldest son already at that time. And it's like, well, now I got a baby, so I can't be out there having parties and all of that. So it was just like, I'm not the one who thinks that entrepreneurship is for me, right? I'm okay with working somewhere else, and then like maybe having something like small on the side.
That's it.
That's right.
I don't think I'm
Full-fledged.
Full-fledged.
Yeah.
Because it takes a lot.
Yes, it does.
And so, Sharika, I want to ask you, as a mother of 4, and I only have 2 kids, as a mother of 4, how do you find the balance between being able to devote the time to your business and make sure you're able to devote your time to your kids as well?
It took time.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, it took a lot of head scratching, a lot of you feel like you are neglecting your children because you're trying to find that self space for yourself. So for me, I did a lot of my works at night, or when they're at school. But 2 of them are always home. But the good thing is they entertain themselves when I got the good system with them. But I would go outside, find that time, waking up earlier in the morning. At one point, I was waking up at 5:00 in the morning.
Mhm.
And then
Yeah, day.
I'll stay up until 2, 3 in the morning because I know that's my most quiet time. So it's all about just finding that balance. But at the same time, yes, you are a mom, but you're more than that, So
Definitely.
yeah.
Definitely. So now going to the spiritual side of it all, what can you tell me about? Tell me about how you have grown, and tell me who or what inspired you to go in that direction at this age. You all are young, and I know there's a lot of things out here that can draw our attention,
Mm-hmm.
but you all have made a decision in your life that's going to be one of those, that's that great decision that you've made in your life.
Yeah.
Yes,
Let's talk about it.
I grew up one way, and then
Go right, let it out.
until I was 18, I grew up Joe Witness. So I
Okay.
always had, spirituality was, instilled inside of me. After 18, I kind of started drifting off and doing my own thing.
Okay.
Still believed in God, but I didn't have the highness of the faith and beliefs. So let's fast forward to when me and her met, talking to her about my background, talking to her about her background. We was almost like one and the same because her family was Jehovah's Witness and half her family went to church.
Mm-hmm.
See, I never went to church. All I knew was Jehovah's Witness. And once I stopped, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So being with her, being around her and her family, I'm like, okay, it's not bad, just depend on who you're around.
Right.
Depend on how you take things. And so me and her was being together. Let's fast forward about 4 or 5 years being in. She said, you know what, babe? I want to go back to church. I said, I ain't going to church. I ain't never been, and the few people that I do know that, was so-and-so, they where they at. They living wrong. So her being patient, she was like, all right, that's fine for now. But eventually, we got to figure it out. I said, all right, cool. Kind of brushed it off. And then it came back around. Say, no, I ain't really dealing with it. I still believe in God.
Right.
I do my prayers, do my ones and twos, but no, I don't trust people. So probably about a couple years after that, after meeting this person.
Go ahead.
All right. So
he was more than just a person. Yeah.
At one point, we was homeless.
Okay.
And meeting this gentleman by the name of Joe Bryant. We call him, everybody know him by Mr. Joe.
Mm-hmm.
He had a restaurant. And even though we was homeless, we still had a couple dollars, to feed ourselves. So we went in there, started talking to him. We ain't really think nothing. We was like, all right, we just gonna buy some food. I see his family in there. All right, cool. He told us to come back around. Just come hang out with us. Just come up and just chill. I'm like, all right. So talking to him, he kind of opened us up. Like, I go to prayer tower over here. This what we doing. I'm the youth minister. The youth pastor. And I'm like, okay, cool. He met our kids. They gravitated to him. So I'm like, all right. You got to be good people if our kids really deal with you like that. Because our kids really don't deal with everybody.
Right.
And it was a storm. When the storm came, this probably had to be like 20.
Say Irma? No.
Was it after the pandemic? Sometime around that time.
It was after because we had Bubs.
And it flooded over there in Fort Myers and Port Charlotte over there. So around that time, like I said, he was cooking food. So he was like, you know what? Come on the road with me, young man. Let me show you something different.
Okay.
All right. So I'm like, all right, well, let's see how this go.
Right.
Did that for like about a year. Every weekend we was over there feeding the people. Met a lot of people. She started coming around. They seen how me and her function. Started meeting some of the prayer time members. So I'm like, okay, cool peoples. So what I mostly appreciate about the prayer time family was they never told us you need to come to church. Right. You should go to church. They never said nothing out of the way that they didn't make us feel like family. So for about 2 years straight, they never told us what we should have did or where we should be. They just let us be us.
Right.
And from that point on, that kind of made it easy for me to be like, all right, as the head of my family, she already been talking about this. I feel comfortable with these people because they never, we done met Muslims, not to down talk any religion.
Right.
Of course, Joe Witness. It's like, it seemed like most people want you to come to their organization right now. Like right now. And I'm like, these people never even, they all they had to do is tell us where they went. They never said, come on in. They let us make that choice for ourselves.
There you go.
And that's what really opened us up to bigger spirituality, because faith and beliefs, once you start meeting certain ones, they kind of instill it into you. Then they show you different things. And they teach you a lot of things.
Right.
And that's what we took off with, coming back into spirituality.
Well, what about you?
Good deal.
Take away we. You.
I appreciate the ones. We got a pastor. He's a role model for real. He took a person who was doing street activities, even though, because, you got to have paperwork to get into these houses and apartments. And we ain't had no paperwork.
Right.
We had a couple of dollars, but we ain't had no paperwork.
Right,
we like, all right, we ain't finna live in these hotels. We might as well just do our thing out here. And he took us in too. He showed us things. He inspired us. And he was about what he was talking about. He wasn't just acting.
Right.
So to me, he like another father figure.
Well, for me, faith has always been big. When I was young, I used to, I remember when I first told him, I used to have these dreams, and I had went to my grandmother. I had to be like 10 or 11, and I asked her, I said, I'm having these dreams. I feel like I'm getting attacked that night. Like, I'm doing what you taught me. I'm rebuking in the name of Jesus, but I will literally wake up with scratches on my body. And she had told me, she said, the day that you stop having a fight is the day that you worry. What you talking about, Grandma? Well, life came to that point. Between 15 to in my 20s, I finally started realizing like I wasn't fighting no more. Because you became what I wanted you to be. You're part of the world. I still know I believe, but I'm believing, but I'm not living the way that, the path is supposed to be. So what really drew me back, once you experience everything that is not, like you said, we ended up being homeless. But before doing that, we were living in Gulfport again at this time. And we had a lot of trials in our life, and in this particular place, I started experiencing moments again where I told you back then I was having dreams, but now these dreams not dreams anymore. I'm physically awake, and I'm seeing, experiencing moments of like real deal connections, and I'm talking to God now, and I don't know how I even ended up back in that place, but I knew that I would spend a lot of time alone. And they say in your loneliest places you can find God at the same time. He gonna take you low. And then doing that, that's when my journey started happening. And we had did everything right. We was back established before we ended up being homeless. He had got blessed with a new job. That's how he ended up meeting Mr. Joe, because he was working at a particular building right next door to the restaurant. And in doing that, the landlords that we had, they were scammers, come to find out. So they're now evicting us, saying that they wasn't getting rent. But we actually had a program because of the pandemic that had allowed like Florida something that was paying rent to your landlords. So they wanted those checks plus our money at the same time. So they ended up writing up an eviction process. We ended up getting a lawyer. We ended up winning the eviction lawsuit, but we still had to get out because they still were saying that they wanted that back money. And during that time, I realized, I kept telling myself, I know God got us. Like at the end of the day, we getting evicted, but we just bought a new truck, and a Yukon is a great thing to have. But he took us out of one thing, and I told him, I said, I had asked my oldest daughter, I said, I want to take you to, your nana before because I broke everything down, what was finna happen. And she told me, she said, I'm not leaving y'all. She said, we gonna do this, we gonna do it together. I'm like, you're 8 years old. Like, I'm, for me, I'm, I'm letting you. She was like, no. So, because now if I go tell my mama what's finna happen, but I'm like, she was like, no, don't. So for me, that's when, I really realized that, long as you got faith in God, you're gonna make it through anything. And in doing that, we did make it through, because I asked this man for years, can we go to church? And me and Mr. Joe, and then lead him to the pantry, because he kept saying, and it's so funny when it came down to Mr. Joe Bryant, he never said anything about us being homeless, but we believed that he knew. And he would say, go to prayer tower. They got a pantry over there. We're like, no, we ain't going to no pantry. People need, so people need that. And he went and volunteered at that pantry. And in doing that, volunteering, you got familiar with, great people. And that's what led us to a place of worship. So for me, it was nothing better, I done tried living the world way, and living the world way always failed me. But when I found God, we go through things, but he ain't failed me yet. So I tell everybody, just lean on him. Lean on him. Hold on.
Hold on.
That's it.
Hold on.
We go through so many things in life, but as long as we know where our help comes from, then, we gonna go through it. As Pastor always say, you go through it. You don't get stuck in it. Go through it. And so shout out to Pastor Joe, shout out to Pastor Ricky for the things they're doing in the community. This is awesome. I believe your testimonies here today will inspire someone, even if it's only one person. Just that inspiration, you know what I mean? You all have gone through some things, and y'all are young and have gone through some things, but you have persevered, and you've come to this point now that you could pour in other people. Because when God blesses us, he don't bless us to keep it. He blesses us to bless others. I want you all to go ahead and shout out your business again, the name of your business, Aaron.
Top Notch Lawn Service Landscaping.
Okay, how can they contact you?
813-640-9824. You can call, leave a voicemail, or shoot a text message, whatever your preference.
Find me on Etsy at Harvested in Purpose. You can type that in the search link, or you can look up the book Holding It All Together, Building Dreams and Raising Families. So, just go out there and support this beautiful ebook. It's $1.99.
Definitely.